In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial on how to cut this deep plunging neckline corset dress with wrapper flux draping on it. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. And this dress is from Nice Couture. So to start, here is my pattern and I'm going to start by marking my shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist and blouse length. For the blouse length of this dress is 5 inches after your waistline because you're cutting it like an inbuilt corset, because it's an inbuilt corset, right? So go ahead to mark your shoulder divided by 2 and add half. This dress has a sleeve, then come down by 1 inch at that point. Mark a basic neckline of 3 by 3 inches first. We are going to use this as a guide, but we are still going to extend this neckline, right? Now after marking that, connect to that your 1 inch shoulder slant. The next step is to go ahead to find your chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I'll place my ruler and draw a straight line. After marking that, I'll go ahead to place my tape. Mark back my shoulder divided by 2 plus half. Now place your ruler and connect this all the way up. After connecting, place your tape again. Now divide what you have there into 2 equal parts. We are trying to draw out our armhole curve. Come out by ½ inch here. Place back your tape and mark your bust circumference divided by 4. Connect from this point to the upper part and from the armhole to that of your bust circumference divided by 4. After marking this, I'm going to start by marking my dart. To mark my dart, I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2. I have 3.5 inches. That is, if I divide my nipple to nipple into 2, I will mark this starting from the bust, waist, blouse length. Then I'll take my ruler and I'll place and connect, drawing out a straight line. Go ahead to divide your shoulder into 2 equal parts and mark. Place your ruler, connect from this your shoulder or from your bust point to your shoulder. Now I'll be taking my dart intake of 1 inch on both sides. If you're plus size, please use 1.5 inches on both sides. So I'll mark this on the bust waist. Sorry, I'll mark it at the under bust, waist and blouse length. And then go ahead to place your ruler to draw a straight line and also mark this at the other side. After this, connect to the under bust and also connect at the other side of your pattern. Now after I'm done doing this, I'll come up by 1.5 inches at this point. I'll place my ruler and draw a straight line. Now determine where you want your cupped corset to start. You can even place your tape starting from the shoulder to measure it. So for my dart intake at the upper part, I'm using 1 inch on both sides. If you're also a plus size, you will use 1.25 or 1.5 inches at both sides. So after that, connect this to your bust and I'll go ahead to use my pencil to blend it out. Now let's insert my body measurement. Mark your bust circumference divided by 4. You see this dart at the over bust or chest line area. Measure it and replace. For your sewing allowance, use ½ inch because it's an inbuilt corset, except you want to add more allowance. Now at the under bust, mark your under bust circumference divided by 4. Measure the dart intake, replace and add ½ inch. Now at the waistline, if you want to snatch your waist, my original waistline is 28 inches. Now I want to reduce it to 26. I'll minus 2 inches from it. Divide that 26 inches by 4 and mark. Measure the dart intake, replace, and then I'll add my sewing allowance. Now here I'll go ahead to mark my hip circumference divided by 4, and I'll also go ahead to measure the dart intake I have there, replace, and just add ½ inch for my sewing allowance. So it's an inbuilt corset, you don't have to use much sewing allowance unless you just want to add much sewing allowance. So connect from the bust to the under bust to the waist and down to the blouse length of this pattern, right? So after you're done connecting that, what you're going to do is to go ahead to come up by 1.5 or 2 inches by the side, and you're going to go ahead to connect this all the way to the waist. go ahead to make any waistline of your choice or any hemline of your choice, but because this is an inbuilt corset, I'm just using a basic hemline. Next step is to mark your bust dart. Go ahead to take the measurement from your shoulder to waist in front and measure your shoulder to waist at the back. Now deduct your shoulder to waist at the back from your shoulder to waist in front. That is how you will get your bust dart. Mark that and extend it to your nipple point. I'll go ahead to shade this out. After the under bust, I'll come down a little, and from the neckline area, I'll start drawing out the neckline of this dress. So I'm using a freehand sketch to do this so that I can get the exact curve that I want to. So this is what you'll be having at this point. From the under bust, go ahead to connect this up. So after connecting, you're going to go ahead to work on the other side of this corset. So for the yoke of this corset, you're actually going to do a yoke placement. That is, after sewing the lower part, then you now place your yoke on it, pin it and stitch. Now blend out your darts. That is if you want to mark the other side of the cup. But first, I'll mark my nipple to nipple and add ½ inch, giving me 4 inches. So if you're plus size, you might add 1 inch to your cup. So I went ahead to connect. What I'll do is I'll cut out this side. Now to complete my cup on the other side, I'll blend this out, then blend out that side and also on the cup. So this is what I just have for the front, and we're still going to adjust the neckline, but first of all, I'll go ahead to cut this out. So if you have any question regarding this pattern drafting, please kindly go ahead to ask your question. So just like I said, I'm still going to readjust the yoke of this dress. I don't want pull no trigger. I just want me, cause I can play. I don't want no wahala, no wahala, no wahala, no wahala, no wahala, no wahala. After cutting out, this is what I have. Now let's readjust the yoke. Measure about 3 inches or 3.5 from here and come down by 4 inches for the neckline. Now if you're not okay with this measurement, you can still readjust. So I went ahead to connect back and I'll cut this out. So this is the yoke we have here. Now moving over to this pattern, I've marked out my measurement, which is my shoulder divided by 2 added ½ inch, and I found the chest line just the same way we did for that of the front, and I marked my shoulder to bust, shoulder to waist, and I added 5 inches after that for the blouse length. Remember, we are using a bust dart technique, so the shoulder to waist in front, that of the back is not the same. For this pattern, I'll be drafting it in a dartless form so that it will be easier for you. At the bust, I marked my bust circumference divided by 4 plus half. Now the waistline, that waistline you used at the front part that you snatch, mark it at the waist and add ½ inch. At the blouse length, mark your hip circumference divided by 4 and add ½ inch. After marking, go ahead to place your ruler, connect from that point and also connect to the waistline. Now I'll come up by 2 inches here and I'll go ahead to connect it to the lower part. Now after connecting at that point, come in by 2 inches, which will be serving as the lacing of this dress, and I'll place my ruler to connect this straight. I'll just make a circle to indicate we have a lacing there. Now I'll come down by ½ inch and I will connect this to the upper part. This is to tighten the back of the pattern. At the shoulder, mark that same 3 inches or 3.5 and then connect it to your yoke this way. Come up by 0.5 inches also and connect. So all this dart intake we took out here is to tighten the back so that the yoke area will not be too free. So I'll just go ahead to cut this out and I'll go ahead to cut out the rest of the pattern. And if you also have a question, please go ahead to ask. After cutting out, note where the yoke will meet the bodice of this corset, and note there's the shoulder pad at the shoulder of this dress. Now for the skirt, I'll cut this in a miniature form because I want to illustrate how to do the draping on it. Now mark your waistline, and from your waistline measure 7 inches to get your hip point. If you're a taller person, use 8 inches. Now place your tape from there and mark your knee point. After marking your knee point, come up by 2 inches from the actual knee point. Let's say this is the 2 inches. Go ahead to mark it. After marking it, what you're going to do is to go ahead to mark your waist circumference divided by 4. Add your sewing allowance. The hip, mark your hip circumference, add your sewing allowance. Use any sewing allowance of your choice. Whatever you have on the hip, to have a very fitted effect at the lower part of your skirt, deduct 2 inches and mark at the knee point, and at that 2 inches we came up and then extend it down. So I'll connect from the waist to the hip to that 2 inches point we came in to the knee and take this all the way down. So I'll just go ahead to cut this out. After cutting out, you'll be using this to cut that of the back pattern also. Now take that pattern that you have cut out or your main fabric, place it and add like 2 inches in front for your zipper or 1.5. Now what you do is you're going to trace out the lower part of your skirt and the sides of your skirt also. So after tracing that out, what you now do is to go ahead to cut out the excess you have. Now remember, you can cut this directly on your fabric. Now for this dress, you're going to actually make the skirt with a plain fabric like your Duchess, or if you're using a doll face satin or mirror face satin, make your skirt first. So after making your skirt, what you do now is to go ahead to join your skirt. That is, turn it with the lining, stitch it. So that lace on it is actually draped, and I'll use a pattern paper to illustrate how to drape it, although it might be slightly difficult to drape it on the pattern paper. So I'm just pinning up this pattern. Let's just say that you're making this dress and you're stitching it. That is, you have turned it with your lining and you're joining it together, right? So after joining it, this is what you will have. So what you will now do is to go ahead to get your fabric, right? Get the midpoint. So from that midpoint, place it at the midpoint of the skirt. Now you might just hold it at first and then go ahead to pin one of the side. That is, you'll be doing this on your client's body. After securing the middle and one side, now you want to like push your fabric down and create like little pleats or ruche at the center. Now you go ahead to use your needle and thread to tag this down and then push this up to the other side, right? So you're either going to do this with your mannequin or on the client's body. Now push the rest of the fabric to the side of your dress, sorry, to the back of your dress, then fold it in this way. Then you're going to push it to the lower part of your skirt to create like that V that you have at the back of the skirt. Now tuck in your excess, it's ½ inch towards the zipper side, not more than ½ inch or 0.3, because you're actually doing a draping and you're also hand tacking it. So you have a V here and a V here. Now the lower part of this dress, you notice that we have like drapings there. Go ahead to now pleat and you will start hand tacking it, and you will repeat it on the other side. This is to give that ruche or pleated effect at the zipper part of the dress.